Hi everyone, it's Sonny McDonald here, and today I'm interviewing one of our incredible finalists in our Outstanding Leadership Awards, Allyson Brown, and she is the founder, and I'm going to call her CEO of everheal. Her story is pretty amazing when you read all about it. We were just talking offline about the awards, and she's got so much going on with work and things. I think she's probably like, wow, I'm a finalist, but I know she's really, really committed to making a difference in this space with her company. So, and I know how that feels. So, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2005. So that was when I was 23 years old. I was in the second year of my PhD research in forensic analytical chemistry, and it was a bit of it had a bit of an impact on my life, to be honest. So I was determined. I did finish my PhD finally. But yeah, so I've been working in various analytical roles in various government organizations until I had a life-changing relapse in 2018. And this was where I couldn't think straight. I couldn't even work out what 8 divided by 2 was one day. My brain just wasn't working. I had no energy, and I was just like a zombie, just trapped like a prisoner in my own body. And this felt awful. I remember one of the worst days, I was sitting there just staring out the window thinking, what happened to my life? Like, I had so much potential, and this is what I've been reduced to. And this terrified me that would be, my existence, that would be as good as my life would be. So I knew that I had to change something. I didn't think it would work, but I decided to change my diet. And within 3 months, something miraculous happened. My brain function came back, my energy came back, and I actually felt like me again, because autoimmune disease can really strip part of your sort of self, that self feeling. And yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So now I'm on a mission to help other people with my company everheal, to try to educate them on the information that I found about how diet links to autoimmunity and chronic illness, and what we can actually do about it.
So I had a look at your website. You've got like a 4-step
Life formula.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't want to take too much of, what it's all about and things, but, and I want people to come and have a look at what you're doing, because what you're doing is making a real difference. But if there were like 1 or 2 pieces of advice, what would you love to say to people that are going through something similar as you?
Yeah, listen, just keep learning. Don't fall into the trap like I did of just hearing what the doctor tells you or the specialist tells you, that you just need to be on this medication, and that's all you can do. Because I had about 20 relapses on medication that was meant to actually help me, and so I've got permanent neurological damage in my body now because of that. And since changing my diet, I haven't had any relapses. And so this is quite phenomenal, in that I should just be declining, and now I'm actually going on the upward trajectory. Into like better health now. I mean, I feel better than I felt in years, and
Wow.
there are possibilities. So just keep learning. Be willing to be able to try something that's not just the status quo, not just following the advice, that we trust from our specialists. We absolutely do. And don't get me wrong, medication definitely has a place, but there are some other things that you can do, which are just some simple diet and lifestyle changes that can make all the difference.
Nat, can you name one? You're allowed to share just one.
Listen, if you start taking out inflammatory foods, let me ask you, right? I'll make this really simple, because people actually know the answer, how to get started, right? So if I say to you, sugar, is this a good food or a bad food for our health? What would you say? Is it a good or bad food?
Depends on the sugar.
Generally speaking, let's just go with general speaking. Sugar, good or bad?
A little bit of sugar is okay, but not a lot. So probably not so good, but I think a little bit of sugar is okay.
Right. Okay. So you're justifying it, but it's kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
What about vegetables?
Great.
Great. So vegetables are good. And what about processed foods and junk foods and that sort of thing? Is this good for our health and bad for our health?
Bad for our health.
There you go. You already know how to get started, right? Because, if you increase your vegetable intake, which is good for our health, this is going to be amazing. This has got lots of phytonutrients, phytochemicals that can really help to heal your body. And if we start taking out those inflammatory foods, like start with sugar, start with processed foods, those are the kind of, no-brainers, we start to actually see some changes in our health. Because it reduces this inflammation and our body starts functioning better and we actually live better, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is good. It is really good. I saw a picture it was interesting, on Instagram last night, and it was like an old photo from like the 60s down at the beach. And she went, and it was like all these people, maybe back then, like 60s, 70s, like they were in that funky bikini gear and stuff. And she was kind of going, look, you can see that people for some reason back then seemed a lot healthier. I don't know. It's just like, it was just an interesting statement that she kind of looked at a photo and went, has fast food, like in terms of now we've become around, you kind of look at now, gosh, 50 years later, and we're just so into fast food and processed food, how it's really changed our health, right? And so
Yes.
important that, even a lot of the coaching work we do, and we work with very busy people, they're very much around just quick, easy, eating constant processed food. And then they wonder why they don't have that energy and they have that brain fog, right?
Yeah, and I actually looked into this because I kept seeing a trend where chronic disease and autoimmune disease just continued to rise, even though we're in the most medically advanced era in human history. Like the numbers should be going down, right? We should be getting cures and we should be, making people much, much healthier and avoiding these diseases, but it continued to rise. So I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like we're in a really good era in human history where we're really medically advanced and the population hasn't risen by that much. Why are
Yeah.
some of these rising by up to 300%? So I started looking back and looking at the trends, and you're absolutely right. Since about the 1960s or 70s, we started to see a big shift in the way that we treated food, right? And we started introducing, like after World War II, they started introducing a lot more. They needed to introduce processed foods and packaged foods so that it would last longer, and that sort of started introducing sugar. Then when you get to the 70s, there was the introduction of factory farming, which changed the way that our meat production happened. A lot more food, like processed foods, artificial colorings and flavorings and hormones and that stuff. But we start seeing a rise in obesity levels, even in children. And we start seeing a rise in disease and keeps going up and up and up. And unfortunately, we haven't seen the peak of that yet because our habits continue to get worse and worse and worse over time. In fact, I think they said that 25% of the food that we eat these days is processed fast food because everyone's busy, everyone's on the run, and it's just more convenient. But unfortunately, it's actually hijacking our health. We just don't think of that. We think of the consequence of bad eating, like eating bad foods, as being weight gain. That's the consequence we think about. We're like, oh, well, I put on a few kilos, but that's okay. Like I can accept that. But we don't realize what it's actually doing to our health. Until it's too late quite often. But it's not completely too late. You can still do something about it. Every bite that you take, you're either fueling the disease or fighting against it. You get to make a choice every time you have food. So just make good choices and you will improve your health.
That's so great that you're doing this. This is wonderful. So if people really want to reach out to you, which I've put your website on the StreamYard, on the information there. Is there any other ways that people can reach out to you if they want to find out more other than the website?
Yeah, sure. They can email me, of course, if they've got any questions or anything. They can email info@everheal.com.au, or if they on Facebook, they can join my free Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/autoimmune diet.
Oh, that's easy. Okay, excellent. All right, when I get a chance, we'll update that and we'll add that to the StreamYard as well. Obviously, we're really thrilled and proud to have you as a finalist on our leadership awards around championing courageous leadership. And what does that actually mean to you when you think about courage and leadership?
Look, I think you need to be courageous in terms of starting your own business. Particularly for me, I had no business background or anything like that. I had no aspirations to necessarily fall into a leadership role, but I feel like courageous and kind leadership is about facing fears to help others, so that the purpose is greater than yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a leader, you have to be courageous because you're basically putting yourself out there, for potential failure, for potential ridicule, for potential whatever that looks like. And so if your cause is bigger than the sum of all your fears, and you're doing something that's amazing and helping each other, like helping other people, that's what courageous and kind leadership is. And as I mentioned, courage in terms of what I'm doing, it's going against mainstream modern medicine sort of practical practices. You know, so we're actually starting to say, well, maybe there is an approach that may not just be medication based, but natural approaches quite often have a snake oil or hocus pocus kind of feel about them because they seem too simple. They seem too out there. But when you actually, you know, because I've done the research, I actually try to break it down for people to teach people those basic principles just so they can understand it. And because when you can understand it, you can actually make decisions to stick to things. So I think basically knowing that there's millions of people struggling with autoimmune disease and chronic disease worldwide, I know that I have to step up, maybe get failure, maybe get rejection, whatever that looks like. I need to do it because there's going to be some people out there that resonate with what I'm saying and want to learn how to actually take back control themselves. And I understand, like, the kindness part comes into having empathy for people and remembering what that pain looks like, remembering what that journey looks like. Because when you feel like a prisoner trapped in your own body all the time.
For some reason, we've lost your audio. For some reason, the audio has gone.
Oh, okay. How's that?
I don't know why.
Is that better?
I'm so just. Do you want to keep
talking?
You
hear me?
No, the audio's now gone.
So you can't hear me?
That's okay. That's okay. Let's get you back on. For some reason, we have just lost audio with Alice. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can.
I can't hear you. I'm so sorry for everyone that is watching this today. For some reason, we have lost audio. It's showing that I don't know what happened there. Let me just go on the back end. It's showing here.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's showing that it's working my end. So I don't know why we've lost audio. Okay. We might have to regroup and yeah, do another interview with can you hear Sarah? Sarah, can you hear Allyson? Sorry, we've got some people saying they can.
Oh, they can still hear me.
Yeah, audio is fine my end. So maybe they can hear you. So for everyone that's listening, I don't know if you can hear Allyson because for some reason I have completely lost audio and I cannot hear her. So we'll just maybe keep talking, Allyson. Keep talking about, we're very excited to have you as a finalist. And I agree with the whole, okay, they can hear you. They can hear us both fine. So that's awesome. For some reason, I can't hear you. So I have no idea why I cannot hear you. I think that is super weird. Let me just get my earplugs. Let me see. I'm so sorry everyone that's on this. Let me see if this is easier. Because can you talk? I
can talk. Yes.
No, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. Oh my gosh. I don't know what happened there. I'm so sorry. How neat is that?
Sorry. Okay. Technology.
Technology.
It's all good.
So I heard what you talked about when it comes to kindness, which I think it is. Because I actually didn't realize, you've kind of made me very aware when you said, like, you gave me some stats around how many people are dealing with autoimmune issues and chronic disease and things, I didn't realize there were so many people out there that are actually, that have these conditions, which I'm sure are debilitating. I mean, how did you know? Like, how did you know that this was going on for you? How were you diagnosed? Was it because you just weren't feeling, you were like, oh, well, I've got a bit of a brain fog, I just don't seem like, how did you know that this was going on for you?
Yeah, so my original diagnosis basically came about because I stumbled up some stairs. I was running up some stairs and my right leg dropped out from under me and I fell over and I was like, "Whoa, that was clumsy." But I'd hurt my
Wow.
leg. So I was seeing a physio. And by that stage, a few weeks later, I started to get a numb patch in the middle of my back. And I mentioned it to her and she's like, "That's not normal." I said, "Oh, I'm just probably pinching nerves or something." And she's like, "No, no, you should really see someone about that." So a couple of weeks later, this numb patch had spread to almost my entire right side of my body. And I started having difficulty walking. And so I went and saw my doctor and they did a quick test that was quite easy, just moving my toe up and down, and I had to just tell them which direction it was, and I had no idea. I was just guessing, and she's like, "I think we'll refer you to a neurologist." Went and saw a neurologist, got an MRI done, and that results in lesions on my brain and spine that they could see that were that's what the diagnosis for MS is.
Wow. And when was that? When were you diagnosed?
2005.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you've had quite a journey with it. And so when did you launch Everheal? So how long have you had Everheal for?
I had it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I started it with a friend of mine, and she sort of went off to pursue her dream of coaching instead. So I'm just basically doing Everheal myself, and created a program for people to really help them, learn the basic principles that they need to know so that they can make some simple changes and be supported to actually create some, healthy daily habits, some routines that actually help them sustain this for the long haul. Because if we want our health for the long haul, we just have to do a few little tweaks to our morning routines and that sort of thing to actually just keep this going.
Great. I'm a big one for mornings and habits. I think setting those habits are really important. And I think what I love about what you're doing is that you're really trying to educate, but also feel, I think, particularly supporting people, I think is key, because I don't know how you felt at the time when you were diagnosed with these sort of things. And I actually have a few friends with MS. It's that whole, you feel a bit alone, you just feel no one understands what it's like to have a chronic illness or autoimmune disease or MS, is that having that support and having someone that understands, but also educating and giving the knowledge to try and live, or and it sounds like, look at where you've come from what you've built, and now you're using Everhill to really make a difference around the globe to help others.
Well, as I said, there's 320 million people struggling with autoimmune disease alone, and 98% of those people are struggling with brain fog and fatigue, like what I was. And it doesn't have to be this way, but even
No.
when the people know what to do, only 5% of people actually make sustainable diet and lifestyle changes for the good of their health, because it's hard to do by yourself. And when you get those cravings come in, it's like, oh, temptation's there, so I'll just go with the temptation. And you fall off the wagon. We've all tried a diet and then quit after
Yeah.
2 days or 2 weeks, going, oh yeah, no, I'm over it now. Um, so it's really how to actually combat those things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 30 years of sugar addiction, sugar and junk food addiction for 30 years I had to overcome by myself. And it wasn't easy, but that's why I've developed now a bit of a system to help make it easier for people.
Yeah.
And so like the people that I've got in the system, they're seeing amazing results, amazing health
So
benefits.
good.
Yeah, it
I agree with
really.
the whole sugar thing, right? Because you don't realize how addictive it is. Um, I like, hey, and I'm sure a few of us are listening to this. We like a glass of wine at the end of the night. So, you kind of go, oh, and you don't realize that obviously there's a lot of sugar in wine and alcoholic drinks, but it is that addictiveness to it. It's kind of, and now again, it's, you don't realize how, like, I've stopped drinking during the week. I might have a glass or two on the, well, maybe three on a Friday or a Saturday night. But during the week, I have been really shocked at, and I know it's just more around the sugar thing, right? How much different I feel during the week, stopping just having even that little bit of sugar, like a glass of wine at night. Now I've stopped having a glass of wine at night, and now I wake up feeling not as much brain fog. Like, I didn't realize the sugar was creating, I don't know if anyone listening to here has felt, like, I don't know, like if you got,
For everybody is like, yes, I totally get it. And it really does, like the impacts that it has on your body. Our body is actually pretty amazing. I used to think that I just had a defective body that was just broken, but they're actually pretty amazing. They're always giving us signals that, because we're flooding our bodies with all of this sort of, let's just call it toxicity. So whether it's toxic foods or toxic chemicals or whatever that is, it just becomes white noise. So when we get fatigue and brain fog and bloating and, all sorts of digestive issues and stuff like that, after we eat food, we just go, oh, that just happens. Like, that's just part of it. But it's actually your body saying, I'm not really happy right now. Like, I don't really like that you've had that drink or whatever. And it actually is trying to tell you that it's having trouble processing that. And it sort of builds up the toxic levels in your body. And it, eventually it will turn into something that's, worse than the original sort of thing. So, in my case, it was autoimmune disease. But for other people, it looks like different things. But we can actually stop it. And sometimes we can reverse things, but otherwise we can just start living better quality of life if we actually just make some better choices. So yeah, you making that better choice, I'm sure your body's just like, yay, that's the sort of thing that we want to do. And you're waking up feeling better for it. So when your body's feeling good, it's telling you that you're on the right path.
So true. I've actually been blown away because here I am advocating, like, well-being, particularly in the coaching work we do. We're all about, because we're very much around neuroscience and our coaching and leadership work, and here I am kind of advocating around why you need to look after your brain, and we're always out there looking after our bodies and seeing a personal trainer or exercising, which is so important, like doing but then we forget we've got this beautiful brain of ours, which is actually our most important tool. And I'm here kind of advocating around really healthy neuroscience things around, like, affirmations, visualizations, journaling, positive thinking, like what's like, the messaging I do around neuroscience. But then I started thinking about, well, hang on, what's a glass of wine each night? And my daughter started talking the word, and I heard you say the word a lot, toxic, 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 toxic. And I started in my brain going, oh, that's not a nice word, toxic, toxic. Like, even though it's only a glass, which I'm not saying that I'm not judging anyone around whatever sugar they like, whether it's a Mars bar or a cookie or a glass of wine, whatever. I agree absolutely in moderation, but I thought, if I'm consistently having a couple of glasses of wine during the week, if I cut out just that piece of sugar, I wonder if it'll make a difference to my brain. And it was like, I was waking up in the morning going, I am feeling 1,000 times better. And now I've started building that habit. And it is about building the habit, right? They say, I don't know how long it takes. They say it takes to break a habit.
66 days on average, between 18 and 254, I think it is, days, but average of 66 days. They've done a study on it in the Journal of Neuropsychology or Social Psychology. Yeah. They did a study on it.
Well, I don't know if you've read, I forgot the guy's name. It's one of my favorite books. I've just had a brain fart around. But Atomic Habits is a great book. Miracle Morning, great book, all about habits, right? And what you're doing with Everheal is educating and helping people build better habits. So therefore, they can start living a more fulfilled life, because we've only got this one life, right? And don't we want to live each day feeling the best we can? And I know we've still got the challenges there, but the thing is, if you cut out or if you start to implement, I always go tiny tweaks, big changes. So it sounds like here you are building a support network and education around helping people around the globe. I mean, obviously we want to tap in. If you say there's like 320 million people we just want to get more of those people that are listening today. To check. So we're gonna have to, I've kept you so long today. I'm so sorry. I was like, Allyson, we're only gonna chat for 15 minutes, but
It's all good. I've enjoyed every moment of it.
it's such an honor. Thank you so much for being a finalist in our awards. It's great to see you as a finalist because we need more role models like you, right? We need greater role models like Allyson that are out there having the courage to use her journey and experiences to make a difference with courage and kindness and leadership. I know you're going to be really great in terms of successful in terms of Everheal. If there's anything we can do to help, please let us know. And we can't wait to, hopefully we will see you at the awards. It'd be great to see you on the night. Tickets, as I mentioned before when we were offline, tickets have nearly sold out. So we're really excited
Awesome.
about the movement we are building, and you're part of that movement. So I wanted to say thank you for helping us demonstrate and champion great people and humans like yourself to our youth and to the generations out there to see that there's great people and great humans making a difference.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be part of this process and, become a finalist. I'm just so thrilled to be part of this amazing work that you're doing.
Oh, no, thank you. And don't forget to reach out to Allyson at Everheal. And I know that you're going to make a big difference. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Stay safe.
You too. Bye.
Bye.